Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. In this video we're going to be making this a custom block in Minecraft Bedrock. Is a battery that charges the block on the top and below it. And without wasting any much time, let's head straight into the code. So back in VS Code, we have our behavior packs and resource packs ready with the items we added from the last video and also the shorts. So to add a new block, we'll create a folder called blocks, and in that folder we'll add a new file called battery.json. This is the block you are going to add to the game. So the first thing that we need to do is register the block into the game. And to register it, first we'll encapsulate it in curly brace, and most of what I'm going to type here I've covered it in the last video, so you can check that video out. We'll first add the format version. The format version we're using is 1.21.0. Next we'll add the JSON object called block. It tells the game you're adding a block. Then we'll fill out the description, the identifier first. The identifier, the namespace is going to be FPAT. So every item or block or whatever I'm adding to the game, for this add-on, the namespace is going to be this FPAT namespace. So the namespace has been added. We'll add a colon, and the identifier of the block is going to be battery. Next, for the menu category, it's going to be the construction tab. And to actually register it, you need to add the components. Like, you don't need to add anything in, but it just needs to be there, whether it's filled or is empty. And like this, the block should be registered into the game. If you check in the construction tab, you'll see a dead block with a question mark texture. That shows that the block has been added, but it's just an empty block. It doesn't do anything, but it's the first stage of your block. So back in VS Code, we can actually start giving more components to the block. So the first component we're going to add is the selection box component. This adds in the hitbox for the block, where you can select the block. So it takes in two fields. The origin is the starting point of the area. For a default block, it's going to be -8, 0, -8, and the size, which is the max area, so which is going to be 16 by 16 by 16. The next component we'll add is the collision box. The collision box is the collider of the block. You have the same fields as the selection box with the origin and the size. The next component that we'll add is the geometry component, which gives the block a model to use. For a basic block, we're going to use the full block, which is from Minecraft itself. So the identifier, we'll set it to Minecraft.geometry.full block. Like that, the block will still use the default geometry block, with or without it, but this component is required for the next component we'll add, which is the material instance component. This maps each face of the block to a specific texture. To set up the textures, we'll go to the resource pack folder and create a new folder in the textures folder called blocks, and you drag in the two textures I've made. You can find them in my github repo. And in the textures folder, you create a new file called terrain texture.json. Fill out this up here. You don't need to know what this code does, but if you're curious, I'll talk about it for my shorts. Section name is atlas.terrain. Non-myth levels is 4, padding is 8, and for the texture data, just like the item textures, we'll set each texture to a specific key. So the battery top is set to the battery top texture. Just textures / blocks / battery top, and we do the same for the battery side. Back in the battery.json file, we'll set all the faces of the block to the battery side texture, and we'll set the top and bottom to the top texture. So to set all faces, we'll add an asterisk, and we'll set that texture to the battery side texture, and we'll fill out the render method, which is how it's going to be rendered in the game. We want a solid color block, no transparency, so we'll set it to opaque, and we'll set the top texture, which is up. Minecraft runs on directions, so that is up, down, north, south, west, and east. So to set the up texture to the battery top, and same for the down texture. And if we head back into the game, the block texture should be set, and the only reason why it works is because both the geometry texture and the material instances texture are set, so you need both of them for it to work. If one is missing, then it won't work. Or if you have the material instances texture alone, you need to set the textures in the blocks.json file, and that one is for older versions of Minecraft. So the next component that we'll add to make this block actually work like a battery is going to be the redstone producer component. It makes any block behave like a redstone source block. In this component, we're going to set the power to 15, which is max power, and the component connected faces is going to be set to up and down like an actual battery, so it can receive power from the top face and the bottom face. Back in the game, the block should be working like an actual battery, and everything should be set. Just one more thing we need to add to make this block fully finished, which is setting the name correctly, which is going to be done in the text folder. So in your en.us.lang file, we're going to set the name of the block correctly. So I'm going to add the comments here, make it blocks, and to set the name, we're going to type tile.fpat:battery, so which is the identifier.name, and we'll set it to the right name, which is going to be battery. So to set a block name, we'll add tile.the identifier of that block.name to set the name. And back in game, the block should be set correctly with the right name, and everything should still be working. This is a very short video on how to make a block in the game. If you have any questions, you can tell me in the comments. If you love the video, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.